Hello everybody and welcome to another Doctor Who review. This time it's a Big Finish adventure and the first 8th Doctor audio adventure. It's Storm Warning. It's Who Month 2023 and all 4 of Paul McGann's first audio adventures season in the Big Finish monthly adventures range will be reviewed this month, and we start off with his debut story, Storm Warning. The Doctor ends up falling through time after trying to stop a ship being repeated in a time loop and being attacked by time monsters called Vortisaurs, and he makes his way into the 1930s into an airship called the R101. This airship was famous for crashing just over France on the 5th of October 1930, and the Doctor ends up on the ship on the night of the accident. The ship isn't just trying to do a flight to Karachi. Its captain, Lord Tamworth, has actually made modifications to the ship to allow it to go higher than its average 1,500 feet. So Lord Tamworth actually was in communication with an alien Triskelion for about a year or so before the launch of the R101. An agreement was made that the Triskelion would be returned to their fellow Triskelions in their own spaceship, but they had to climb to 5,000 feet. The Triskelion was returned and is found to be an engineer. The Triskelion are an alien race who have been split into 3 different castes: the Uncreators, a warlike section of the Triskelion, the Engineers, the scientists of the Triskelion, and the Lawgiver, the head of the society. The Lawgiver has lived for a long time and is dying, and the idea of Earth coming to the aid by getting a substitute. Tamworth is seen as the opportunity to be that substitute, and after a bit of a ruckus ends up being that substitute and becomes a guide to them as they disappear, with all the Triskelion brought back together. That isn't the end of it though. There's another plot line within the story where Rathbone, an agent that's working with Tamworth, has set up a second plan to take the ship for the glory of the British Empire if Tamworth's negotiations don't go to plan. Rathbone has been telepathically controlled by the Uncreator Prime and uses Rathbone to kill the Lawgiver, allowing the Uncreators to be released from their technical chains and control that the Lawgiver had over them. They were scary and initially started a war with the humans. Tamworth manages to beat them back. He nominates himself to be the replacement Lawgiver, then abolishes the post. Rathbone, however, still takes the weapon that the Uncreator Prime had and takes it back to the R101. The Doctor, through all this, is a spectator for most of it and actually meets up with a stowaway, Charlie Pollard. Charlie wants to have a bit of an adventure and stows away posing as a steward. She gets caught early on but falls into the Doctor's adventure and ends up being the companion by the end. Charlie was supposed to die on the R101 as one of the 54 bodies found in France. However, she survives with the help of the Doctor and a Vortisaur that managed to come through from the time schism at the beginning of the story. The Vortisaur manages to search for the TARDIS, which was ejected as ballast early in the story. It's somewhere near Dieppe, and the Doctor and Charlie follow after it. So there we are, a bit of a higgledy-piggledy plot line for Storm Warning. It is written by Alan Barnes once again, and of course stars Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, and the introduction of India Fisher as Charlie Pollard. This is India Fisher's second appearance in the Doctor Who audios. She was in Winter for the Adept before. Let's go through the characters and have a discussion about each of them in turn. So we have the Doctor, played by Paul McGann. Now, they've obviously tried to start the character of the 8th Doctor here very much like the TV movie, which came about 5 years before in our timeline, because this is recorded in 2001. And very happy-go-lucky, very explorative, very Machiavellian, and very eccentric. I like the way that there's elements of all the Doctors in there. You've got the kind of bravado of the 6th Doctor and the 4th Doctor. You've got the fun and excitement of the 2nd and the 4th. You have the gentleness of the 5th. He is trying to pick things from all the other Doctors in some respect, but there is the character of Paul McGann there. he just seems so inquisitive, he just seems so fun and full of life, and I think it's actually done with quite a lot of nuance. I think it's quite a lovely performance, and certainly ingratiates you to Paul McGann as the Doctor even more than you had before. It's established that he's already spoken and had adventures with Mary Shelley. We see that in later on monthly adventure dramas. It's nice to go back and forth. The Vortisaur's mentioned again as well, but it's the whole fact of the Doctor being of a lust for life and love for life and trying to be more of a humanitarian than the schemer of his previous incarnation. It does come across very joyfully, and I do enjoy it. India Fisher plays Charlie Pollard as a very inquisitive young girl. She's not quite Perils or Pauline, but she does seem to have a mind of her own, which the Doctor has to try and control a little bit, and we do see that a bit more in the other stories of this season. But I quite like Charlie. I think Charlie's quite a nice little companion to have with the Doctor. Nice compliment. This is really an introduction to the character and a creation of Alan Barnes which stands the test of time for a good couple of series in the audio adventures. We then have Lord Tamworth, played by Gareth Thomas, Blake himself from Blake 7. I didn't recognise the voice to start with. It was quite gruff and older. He's not really a socialist, he is more establishment, but it's nice to see he's a mediator, and it's really quite fun and lovely to see. I really quite like it. And then we got Frayling, who is the architect or the designer of the R101, and seems a little bit unsure about the whole situation of the modifications of the R101, but still, it's a nice little way that Nicholas Pegg has played it. We've got Rathbone, played by Barnaby Edwards, I think probably the best of the characters. A flawed South African who's there to support the Empire, but has his own slight motive as well. He's a bit cold, he's a bit calculating. When he's with Charlie initially, when they're looking after the Triskelion initially, he does indicate that he's willing to let Charlie into his confidence by doing things that maybe aren't exactly gung-ho nowadays. There's a little bit of reference of, ew, that's a bit seedy in him. I do like the character, I think it works quite well. We've then got Chief Stuart Weeks, played by Hilton Collins. Quite fun. I like the nice little ruffian kind of idea that he is, and he's obviously a slightly older man, and it's quite nice seeing it played, and I do quite like the way it's done. The writing by Alan Barnes, it's a nice romp around adventure. I think it's quite fun to listen to and to imagine. It's quite easy to get into the plot and get into your head all the audio drama and get into the imagination of it. It's quite easy to follow. Some of the stories are difficult to follow in regards to the plot lines and everything else. It's an okay start to the 8th Doctor series. It's not the greatest story in the world. It is okay. It's directed fine by Gary Russell, and the music by Alistair Locke is very complimentary. It doesn't really overtake anything here. It's actually quite good. His sound design's actually pretty solid as well, which I like. I think it's quite nice. The Vortisaurs are mentioned and actually heard for the first time. They were mentioned in Sirens of Time, and now the Doctor refers to the fact he used to ride Vortisaurs at the Academy. And the alias he used when he poses as a German spy initially to Tamworth is Dr. Johann Schmidt, which I thought was quite interesting, quite fun as well. Overall, I do quite like enjoying and listening to this story. It's not the greatest plot line. It is quite fun. It's not the strongest story. It's not gripping. It's not quite take your brain out, but you can enjoy it and not really have to delve too much into the story. I think the fact that using a historical setting kind of helps take away some of the world building a little bit, because it can be explained away with a couple of lines from the Doctor what the fate of the R101 was, which is really interesting. And overall, I would give this a rating of 3.5 TARDISes out of 5. So let's see how Storm Warning fits in with the rest of the reviews I've done so far. Storm Warning sits in with the vast majority of the Big Finish audio dramas, 3.5 TARDISes out of 5. The selection includes The Sirens of Time, The Whispers of Terror, The Marian Conspiracy, The Fires of Vulcan, The Holy Terror, and The Mutant Phase. At the bottom, 2 Big Finish stories with 3 TARDISes out of 5. They are The Land of the Dead and Winter for the Adept. And at the top, 1 story with 4.5 TARDISes out of 5, The Apocalypse Element. That's it from me. Tell me what you think about Storm Warning. Leave a comment down below. Do you like it? Leave a comment down below. Do you not like it? Leave a comment down below. And if you like this video, please like it, share it with the hashtag Teamstructor. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell so you know when a new video comes out. General rule, new video every Sunday at 4 PM GMT. If you want to help support the channel, you can go to the socials. You can go to the YouTube community tab. you can go to the Facebook page, you can go to Instagram, you can go to X, formerly Twitter, and Patreon. All you need to do is search for the term Deanstructor and you will find the pages in all instances. Next Sunday is Sword of Orion at 4 PM GMT. I will see you then. But until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching and listening, of course. And you know what? I will see you later.